Greetings and welcome to Pickled Watermelon Rinds, a guilty pleasure podcast featuring Antie Joan and Ontie, providing our zesty and marginally mature take on current events, pop culture, and trends. Now we invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Well, hello, Auntie Joan.
Hi, Auntie. How you doing?
Well, as they say in Norway, up and not crying.
Really?
Yeah, I saw it on the Facebook. I thought I'd share that little tidbit.
Well, I think that's pretty good.
Yes, they said that's pretty much all we can wish for. At this
Oh,
point.
that we made it up and
Right?
we're not crying.
And
Yeah.
you, Auntie Joan, how are you?
Well, if I may quote my next door neighbor, fair to muddlin', mostly muddlin'.
There you go.
That's Mr. Otto.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, Mr. Otto next door. Yeah, hey.
Are they from Wisconsin?
No, they're from
okay.
back east.
Gotcha. Well, speaking of Wisconsin, I went and played bingo with Auntie Mary.
Oh, nice.
At the bingo company in Arvada, Colorado. Arvada, silly girl.
How is Auntie Mary?
She's just fine. Up and not crying. So there you go. And Auntie Mary won
What?
$200.
Oh my gosh, that ain't right. That
I
ain't
know.
fair.
No. But happy for her. So different bingo hall than Auntie Joan and I usually go to. And it's the first time there for both Auntie Mary and myself. And it was comparable, but I was telling Auntie Joan after we got back that it was, they play a lot of games that simultaneously. So they're calling out the balls, three or four games going at the same time. Those little games that Auntie Joan and I don't understand or have never taken the time to understand what they are. They play them there as well, but they play them off of the same calls of the balls. And it's just, it gets a little confusing. Some people were missing that they won stuff. They kept calling out saying, we know that there's 3 cards that won, each one $25. Check the bins, like the garbage bins, to make sure you didn't throw something out. And I'm like, see, this is very confusing. I mean, we don't really like the little games, that they play in between the regular bingo rounds at the Longmont facility. At least it's separate, you know? But I still think they really should project on the screen what games are in play.
Yeah.
And neither hall does that. I mean, there was one point when we were at Arvada that I literally had to hold up my card and say, are we playing this? And she said, yes. And I'm like, okay.
Good to know.
Good to know. There was a $7,000 progressive. Nobody won that, though. So that's going to be even higher. Or maybe somebody won by now because it's been a little bit since we were there. There was an $1,100 prize at the end, which was a double blackout, which they have 2 numbers per square, and if you as long as one of those numbers is called, you count that square. And it was a blackout round, and it was $1,100, and somebody did win. A single winner won $1,100.
Nice.
That was very nice. I was a little jealous. There you have it. But fun was had by all, as always. Bingo is just such good, clean fun. About the same amount of people-ish, I would say, from where we go in Longmont.
So you went on a Saturday, right?
We did go on a Saturday afternoon, not a nighttime one. We went middle of the day. Started at noon, straight up. Yeah, about the same as when we go during the week on a weeknight. And we're going to try and get the fam to go for the next round and meet up in Arvada, get everybody going.
Yeah,
so
well, count me in.
Woohoo! It's exciting. And the snack bar was good. I had a pretzel and a little bit of popcorn.
Awesome.
Now, I did get the popcorn as soon as we got there, so it was fresh and warm and good. And then we got the pretzel during the intermission because Auntie Mary and I did not go out to eat otherwise. So we decided we were going to eat at the concession stand. And it was decent. I mean, the pretzel was good. The popcorn was good. And they had Diet Dr. Pepper. That's right, folks. Diet Dr. Pepper. I was so happy. So happy. I got 2. Not as big. Not as big as the cups that they give you at Longmont. Yeah, there was nothing that big.
Huh.
But yes, I got 2 because they are so good. I only drink soda when I'm out and about, folks. And when I have the good stuff that I love, either my Seagram's ginger ale or
Schweppes.
Schweppes.
Oh, Yeah, I get the
Schweppes.
Schweppes.
Sorry, you're right.
Yeah.
Seagram's is an alcohol. I forgot.
That's right.
Seagram 7 and 7 is what I used to drink, kids, back in the day. Can't even smell it now without wanting to gag. But that used to be my drink of choice.
How many times did you throw up on it?
Lots, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Seagram 7 and 7. I used to like the slow gin fizz. Seagram 7 and 7. I think that was it for hard alcohol. Mostly, back then, I actually only pretty much drank hard. Like in my 20s, mid to late 20s, I was more into the hard alcohol drinks.
Yeah, I would drink CC and water, Canadian Club and water.
Canadian Club sounds like club soda.
No, it was like
whiskey.
Yeah, bourbon.
Yeah. No. Oh, I like the lemon drop martinis too. That was when I probably more in my 30s. Yeah. Oh, and way back, my early 20s is when, what the heck was it called? It was a wine.
Boone's Farm or Ripple or
Behringer's.
Behringer's.
I can't remember the name of it. Behringer's was the brand for sure. It was like a pink wine. But anyway, yes, we thought we were so sophisticated because we were drinking Behringer's. White Zinfandel. That's what it's called.
Oh.
White Zinfandel? Yes. So you would think it'd be white, but it wasn't. It was pink.
But that wasn't a brand, right? That was
Behringer's was.
Oh, Behringer's. Okay.
White Zinfandel was the type of wine. Yeah.
Oh, I'm trying to think of what the brand was that I used to think was so
Riunite.
It could be.
My mom drank Riunite with my across the street neighbor when we would play progressive rummy.
Yeah, could have been.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I also wanted to be highfalutin but more down to earth, I'd have the Michelob beer. Thought that was pretty.
Michelob was in our estimation, being young, was a high class beer was Michelob. Mm-hmm. We were mostly the Bud and Bud Light group back in the day. All of our kegs were Bud or Bud Light. All of them. Yeah. Yes, I don't think we got kegs in anything else.
When I lived in Chicago, there was Meisterbrow. That was a big brand back then. Mm-hmm. And every year, I think it was in the spring or in the fall, they would have the Bach beer, which was the dark beer. And you could only get it at that time of year.
Huh.
Yeah.
My grandpa was a big Schlitz fan.
Oh, yeah. How about Hams?
Hams?
From the land of sky blue water. Maybe that was just a Midwest thing.
Was it a Wisconsin beer?
I don't think it was a Wisconsin beer, but there was a beaver was using its tail and tapping out on the logs. Yeah.
No, I don't recall that
From
one.
the land, sky blue water.
Huh. Nope. No. Schlitz was the first beer I ever tasted out of my grandpa's and did not like it. I was very young when I had that first sip. I grew a taste for it over the years.
Now, my hometown where I was born, they have a big brand called Point Beer. Because the name of the town was Stevens Point, and they had Point Beer. And one year it was actually voted one of the best beers in the world.
In the world or in the
world?
States?
In the world.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it beat out German beers. Okay, I'll find it. And I'll send it to you.
No, I believe that happened, but I don't believe that it was actually better than German beers. I believe that it happened, though.
I even went on a tour of their place there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is it still there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But it was funny because if you do the Coors tour, it's all high tech. I'm talking like 30 years ago. Everything was very clean. The tasting room was pristine and like a restaurant. And then you go to Point Beer Brewery and it was like you get in the freight elevator to go up to this floor to see how they do this. And then you get back in the freight elevator or you take the stairs down. And then their final, when they load up the cases, it's like done by hand almost. There's like a guy sitting there, pulling up the case. And
what year was this tour, Auntie Joan?
Maybe 35 years ago. Seriously.
No, I know, but I'm saying it's probably a little bit different now.
Probably. But the tasting room, too, was like somebody's basement from the 70s with the old shag rug and the barrel furniture, And, oh, my gosh. It was Oh, it was a trip, man.
Does Point Beer, do they sell it outside of Wisconsin?
Yes, but I don't know where it's limited to. I will say in the 70s, I believe it was, I actually went into the Boulder Liquor Mart one day.
Oh, I miss the Boulder Liquor Mart.
I know. And they had Point Beer there. And I was shocked. And I said, where did you get? I guess one of their employees drove back there, rented a truck, and hauled it out.
Hazel's would get that for you if you wanted it.
No, I don't want it.
That was the bingo excitement. And then
$200. You go, girls.
She did great. And then I also volunteered earlier this week. The Food Bank of the Rockies brought up one of their big 18-wheeler full of food to a local area up here. And the post was mostly about, I saw it on, I don't know, Nextdoor or Facebook. I don't remember which. They were coming up because I guess they come up once a month, which I didn't necessarily realize. It doesn't sound unfamiliar to me, but it's not something I thought was happening, I guess I should say. Anyway, but they didn't come in January, February due to weather. So this is the first time in a few months that they were able to get the truck up there. And they very briefly wrote one little line: if you'd like to volunteer, show up at 10 o'clock or whenever you whenever you feel like coming. And I'm like, oh, I'll go do that. Thankfully, as you get old, folks, this is what you need to do. I immediately put it in my calendar in my phone when I saw the post as a question mark, are you going to go to this kind of thing? But I can't just not put it somewhere, because if I'm just like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that, but maybe, I'll forget. It has to go into the calendar. And then it popped up Tuesday morning and I was like, oh, that's today? Then I'm like, you know what? The wind is supposed to kick up later, but I think we'll be done by then. It was volunteer from 10 to 11. Then people could come get the food from, it said 11 to 12. Come to find out, the driver thought he was supposed to be there until 1, whatever. So I was like, you know what? I'm going. I'm doing it. And it was a lovely bunch of people. As with anything with this kind of stuff, it was slightly disorganized. The person who was supposed to be there to tell the volunteers what we need to do didn't show up. I mean, to the point where I started getting cold and I started just asking the driver, I'm like, what can we be doing? Because I'm cold. I need to start moving. I had to move around or I'm going to freeze to death. So tell me what we can do. And he's like, oh, well, you guys could start unboxing some stuff. Because basically they came on, he had this really cool tool. It was kind of like a forklift, but it was really teeny whiny. And he was maneuvering that thing. I'm like, I want that thing for my house. I don't know what use I have for it, but I want it because it was so cool. And it stopped on a dime. As soon as he put the lever up, it stopped no matter where it was, even if it was on a little incline or something. I'm like, this thing is super cool. So anywho, he was taking they were all on pallets, so he could put the little things underneath it and pick it up and bring it down. He had the back of the truck had one of those electronic gates on it. So he would put it on the gate, electronically bring it down, then he would maneuver it and drop it off, and then we would scurry over and unbox the stuff. And then we had tables set up. We did put a lot of stuff out on the pallets themselves, but a little bit easier, more accessible for folks to get to. But they had a lot of stuff. They had frozen white fish, lots of it. Lots of it. They had frozen strawberries were a big hit. They had boneless, skinless turkey breasts frozen. I can't even tell you how many of those were. I mean, boxes and boxes.
Now, who is this?
It was Food Bank of the Rockies.
Hey.
Yeah.
Did you take anything?
I did. We were allowed to, as volunteers, to do that. I think, honestly, it always says open to everyone. Bring your bags, open to everyone. I don't understand. I don't get it. So I try not to do too much because I feel bad taking food from people who need it. But I only took things because they had decent sized containers of basil, but they only had 6 of them. And I'm like, I kind of want one of those, but at the same time, there's not enough. Anything that was in plethora that was of interest to me, I had no problem with. They even had this big, ginormous box, huge box filled with jugs of water. And I've been using
Was it distilled water?
It was not spring water. It was all spring water. No, I looked because I've been using my humidifier more. And I mean, granted, I could take it out, from, as long as I use filtered water from my refrigerator, that's fine. But it's a pain I was like, I'm not going to go crazy. But so I took 4 at the very, very end, and there was so much left over. So I was like, I took 4 jugs of gallons, 4 gallons, basically.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. They had a ton of whole wheat tortillas. And I was pushing them because I was like, I couldn't believe how many they had. I'm like, take these. So I think I took one at first. And then at the end, there was because there was tons of it. And I was just like, well, I'll take 2 more if nobody minds. So they're in my freezer. They had Petridge Farm rye and pumpernickel swirled bread.
Oh.
I got 3 loaves of that. 2 or 3 loaves. I can't remember. One is out in my refrigerator and the others are in the freezer. I can't remember if I have 2 in the freezer or just 1 more in the freezer. Can't remember. And I was like, I love rye bread, So I'm like, they didn't go. I was pushing those because I saw how many, because I was helping get that all set up. And I'm like, oh my God, guys, there's good rye bread here. I mean, not good Northeast bakery rye bread, let's be clear, but decent rye bread, I guess I should say. But anyway, they had, oh my God, grapefruits by the ginormous box full. And I don't like grapefruits, but I ended up taking 2 because the driver was like, he's like, did you take a box of grapefruits? I'm like, a box? I'm like, first of all, I don't even like grapefruit. And he's like, these are really, really good. And so then later I saw him. He's like, did you get some grapefruit? I'm like, I took 2. And he's like, really? That's it? And I'm like, I don't like grapefruit. I trust you that they're really good, but I'm not going to take a whole ton of them and then throw them out. That's silly. So I'm like, no, I took 2, but they had oranges, not huge. They weren't the littles. They were kind of in between. I don't think they were navel oranges, or if they were just on the smaller side. But I took a few of those.
So when can I expect to get that turkey breast and whitefish?
I didn't take any of that.
I see.
But I can next time if that's what you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was it well attended? I mean,
It was. It was a pretty steady crowd. So once it opened at 11, right until the driver was under the impression it was supposed to go until 1, but everybody was wrapping up by noon. And then they were taking some of oh my God. Okay. They had these huge, like Costco size boxes of the little individual bags of like Doritos and like all these different snack things.
Yeah.
But so those boxes into a case, and we had cases upon cases. I mean, we were like, take a case when people were coming, because that's how much of it there was. I'm like, take a case. Macaroni and cheese, but tons of it.
What kind of macaroni and cheese was it?
No brand that you've ever heard of.
But was it the dry cheese?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
But they had big bags of shredded cheddar cheese.
Really?
Yes. We had quite a few of those. They did end up all going, just like the strawberries. One woman came and she's like, I make jams. I'm like, there's plenty of strawberries. Take them. Take as many as you want. She's like, well, I don't want to just, I'm like, unless somebody's telling you there's a limit on something, take it. And I'm like, I'm probably the worst person to be working here because I have no idea what the rules are. But at the same time, I know we've got tons of the fish. I'm telling you that frozen fish, cases of it, cases and cases of frozen white fish. And
do you know who donated it, or
it comes from the food bank of? Oh, I don't know where the food bank of the Rockies gets it from. I have no idea.
From them though, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Now, did you happen to notice expiration dates or anything on those?
So now on the fish, because I could care less about, I was pushing it just to get rid of it because we had so much of it, but I did not pay attention to any of that stuff. But like the stuff that I got, the tortillas, because that's why I was like, well, okay, let's see. I think they all expire in May. So it's not like they were. Now, I did get a little bag of, they had quite a few of these little bags of different, not salad mixes. I hate to say it because it wasn't really that. Some of them were. Anyway, it was like bok choy and cabbage and broccoli for like a stir fry or whatever. I took one of those at the very, very end, and it did expire on the 17th. So it had expired the day before, but it hadn't been opened. So it's still sealed and all that. And I've been putting it like for crunch on wraps and stuff like that. You should pay attention to that stuff too, for sure. But that was the only one. Everything else, the bread, same thing. It was all the end of the month. I want to say the rye bread I got, 29th, 30th, 31st, something like that. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool.
Because you do hear a lot about people who work at like
Mm-hmm.
they notice like when people donate, a lot of times it's just that they're just basically clearing out their pantry with expired date stuff.
Oh, no, these look like they were donated from businesses.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they had pies. They had this, we had an entire pallet laid out
Oh
of
my
all
gosh.
dessert kind of stuff. They had like the like pound cakes, but they had multiple different flavors, all cut up and stuff. Like, so it was like 12 pieces of
Yeah.
cake but they like double chocolate, blueberry, lemon,
Holy
cinnamon
smokes.
swirls, whatever. And we had tons of them. Like, this was so well. I mean, I was really impressed because I had never been to this before. I didn't really know what to expect. And they had potatoes. They did have, the downside was because when they first were pulling out the pallets, I saw like multiple tiers of tomatoes and I was out completely of tomatoes. Like, good, they've got lots of tomatoes. Maybe I'll grab a couple of those before I go or whatever. And it turns out they were using the tomato boxes for potatoes as well. They did have some tomatoes, but not nearly as much as I thought they had. And I was like, well, I'm not going to take it. So I'm not getting any tomatoes because by the time at the end, there was none left. And I was like, eh. And I was stocked up on potatoes, so I didn't need any of that. I'm trying to think. I just had so much, so much, which was great. It was great. And when we were done, it was all gone. Now, I will say one of the women who organizes it was taking a lot to like the local school because they have like for kids who just to have like snack stuff and all that. So some of those freaking cases of those snack bags and stuff that went to the school. But a lot of people took them too. It was well attended. I think people really got stocked up. Now, keep in mind, they also didn't come for 2 months. So these people who needed it were, I think, extra stocking up, which I was totally fine with. Like I said, I don't know what the rules are, and I'm probably the wrong person to be answering anybody's questions or encouraging people to take more of shit. I'm just like, take it.
Was there anything left over?
No.
Oh.
Water. Some of the spring water. Because I just don't think people realized it was down there because it was in this big honking box. And it was deep, sitting on top of a pallet. And once the first people could see that there was water down there.
Yeah.
But as people coming through, and I don't think people were reminding people, don't forget there's jugs of water down there. That's not where I was positioned. But I have to say, kind of miss running a team a little bit. You could tell because I was like encouraging everyone. You guys are doing so great. Oh my God, look how fast we set up everything. You guys are awesome. This is great. Now when I was leaving, I'm thanking everybody for their time and blah, blah, blah. And were the organizers? No.
Well, maybe you need to get into that end of it.
I don't know. Maybe at some point, not right now, but it was fun. It was fun. And it was good to see that people were getting decent stuff. It wasn't just garbage. They even had they had lots of milk as far as the eye can freaking see. They did have a couple of jugs of almond milk, but that was it. But I was encouraged to see that. I'm like, oh, good. They have some alternatives. That's good. So all in all, happy to do. I'll do it again. Just have to wait for the posts and see because I don't know how else I'll find out about it. But supposedly we did have to sign in as volunteers, and they have my phone number, so maybe we'll get a text from this point on. I don't know. Yeah.
Wow.
I thought it was great. I love that they came up and did that. Yeah, we had this whole parking lot just to do our thing. It was great.
Well, it's just nice to know that what is available is decent stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
I was shocked that the turkey breast because I haven't priced something like that in a long time because I don't eat meat anymore. But at the same time, like that's not $1. And they were good size. I mean, boneless, skinless, that you could cut up into steak, turkey steaks, or you could stuff it, roll it out and stuff it. And all. I was just like, oh my God, if I was eating meat, like I could make so many meals with that.
Yeah, you betcha.
Yeah, it was very encouraging. I was happy to see it for sure.
Awesome.
And what have you been up to, Auntie Joan?
Well, I wasn't nearly as helpful as you, but I went to the Empty Bowls event. Is that what you? Yes. In Longmont. It's for the Our Center. Their mission is to provide assistance for people who are looking for jobs, who need food
and clothing and
all that kind of good stuff. It was very well attended also.
That's awesome.
And I was so happy when I got there with Sandy B.
Super fan Sandy B. Yay!
Yours and my bowls could not be found.
Aw.
So it looks like somebody chose them.
Aw.
What you do is you walk in and there's these long tables and they have all these bowls that were painted at crackpots, most of them.
Mhm.
But it turns out there were some that were thrown. People had actually thrown their own pots, like through
Oh.
this business called Mudslingers, where they teach pottery throwing and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And then I think the high school arts class too did some. So there
That's
were some
nice.
hand thrown bowls. And then people like you and me and Sandy B went to Crackpots and painted the bisqueware bowls.
Yes.
Ours, yours, and mine were already taken.
Aw.
Yeah.
Well, good.
Yeah, and Sandy B's was still there, but they looked good. I thought they looked good.
I agree.
So
From the pictures, I thought they looked
yeah.
good. Yeah.
Then they have a silent auction thing. I did bid on one. It was these 3 birds that were painted at the bottom of a bowl. It was a DEI themed bowl. I didn't realize it just by looking at the birds. Yeah, they had it written on the side of the bowl. But I bid on that, but was outbid, so that's fine.
I got them.
Oh, good.
Because you know how much I love birds. No, I didn't.
But there's an art teacher at Longmont, one of the Longmont high schools, and she does each year. She does endangered species bowls. She does a couple of those that she donates.
Oh.
Sandy B did every year. She does a baby basket. She knits a baby blanket, and then she finds little things like, what did she find? Little books, baby books, and things like that to put in it. And then they pick a bowl that kind of matches a theme. So yeah, she did pretty good with that one. It got last I looked, it was $75 was the bid on that.
Great.
So yeah. And then we get to the soups. Boy, I bet they had 12, 14 options, choices.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And 2 vegan. They had the butternut squash and then that Moroccan thing. And I tasted the lentil and chicken tortilla. And I think Sandy got the chicken tortilla from another restaurant, and then she got chili. So
tasty.
It was good. Yeah, very good.
Good.
And then what they don't give out, then you can buy quarts of the leftover soups for $5.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty good.
Auntie Joan's got a quart of butternut squash soup sitting there waiting for me. Yummo. Can't wait. That's awesome. Now, if you were there and you decided you wanted to taste more than 2 soups, can you just donate again and get 2 more?
And when you do go with your ticket, you're included to pick 1 bowl that was donated. And then if you see others that you like, you can buy a bowl for $5. Each additional bowl you can buy for $5.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Yeah, it was a good time. Good time.
Yes, next year I will clear my calendar and join you lovely ladies for the soup end of it. But also want to do the painting again. I think that was fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed that too. And we got enough time now to research and find the best ways to paint what we want to paint. I did see on one Instagram thing, Potter Guy, when he paints his, he cuts out like stencils on tape and he puts that like painter's tape. He wraps that around the outside and he can use those as stencils because the ones I took were just too stiff.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the stamps and all those other things. So we've got time to work on something there.
Very cool. But you did well, even though your stamps were stiff. I mean, not stamps, your stencil was stiff. That's what she said. You still did a really nice job with yours.
Oh, that's very nice of you.
Being able to do that, because I would have been so frustrated doing that. I don't have the patience for it. No way.
Well, painting is kind of zen. It's a zen experience for
Not
me.
to me. It's got to be perfect. So, nope. And it's got to go fast.
I didn't get this old by doing things fast.
So we're going to move on to one of our newer segments called, well, actually it's a new segment, but it's also where we put some of the things we used to talk about. into this category. It's called crop tending. We're going to touch on a little bit of what we are watching, as well as commercials we have to talk about. And then this is also this segment that we would, if we were talking about what we are scrolling, would be in this segment as well. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Auntie Joan for our first crop tending topic of the day.
So I happened to come across a documentary about Liz Taylor, and it is based on these lost tapes that were done of interviews with her. And she goes back to the 50s. And one thing that really struck me was how young she was when she did a lot of the stuff that she did. For example, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? And I was barely in my 20s, I think, when that came out. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, she just looks so old and haggard. And I thought she looked kind of fat and dumpy. Well, turns out she was 32 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. And she wasn't really that fat. And she wasn't really dumpy either. So just looking at that from this side of life, I think I was a bit too harsh on her. Also, her first marriage was when she was 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that blows my mind. She lived so quickly in the beginning. So I just wanted to.
Well, I think that was more common back then, too, to marry very young.
Oh, yeah.
You
Oh,
know?
yeah.
So that doesn't really surprise me much. And as far as looking back and reassessing how you imagine somebody when you were younger, that's pretty common too, is to be more of a harsh critic.
Oh, yeah.
The first time you see something or someone, and versus going back and re-looking at it. I mean, even of myself, pictures of myself, I'm like, oh my God, I was so fat back then. And I look at the pictures and I'm like, oh my God, no, you weren't. You dumbass.
Oh, I know. I know.
Hey, you big dumbass. You're fine.
Yeah,
But it
yeah.
wasn't the 110-pound skinny mini. And if you weren't that, you were considered fat. And like I said, I look back now and I'm just like, no, you're fine. I mean, I definitely got heavy over the years. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I was never fat, because I was. But especially like high school and stuff like that. And I'm just like,
yeah. Boy, what I'd give to be the weight I was when I thought I was fat in my 20s, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
I hear you.
And I think youth has a lot to do with it too. When you're younger, I think maybe we're, well, naturally thinner usually. It just because of your metabolism and everything. You don't have to work for it as hard as you do when you get older.
I wouldn't go that far for me.
Oh, I would.
Not for me.
But I think we're a lot more critical
Yes.
of people's looks and stuff like that when we're younger.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk about the movie that we both watched, Heretic, with Hugh Grant. I thought he did an excellent job
He
of
always
portraying such a weird, bad man.
He does a good job in anything he's in.
Yes, he does. But, you know, he could have gone over the top with it. Like some of the facial expressions that he does, he could have gone way bizarre, but he doesn't. You know, he like holds back a lot of the sinisterness. You know, so just to discuss what it was about, two girls from the Church of the Latter-day Saints are doing their mission, and they're going to visit people who had expressed an interest in their church, part of their mission. And his house was, I guess, the last one they were planning on doing for the day. And that's kind of where it all goes crazy. The girls are very prim and proper. They didn't want to come in unless they knew there was a female there, a wife, a female roommate. And he says, oh yeah, my wife she's here. Yeah. She's making pie and come on in. It turns out he's just playing all these games with them, you know, these head games. And I do have to say, I thought he had some good points about religion. He talked about the game, Monopoly. He brings out this Monopoly game and he talks about, you know, he says, well, Monopoly, everybody knows, probably has played Monopoly. But did you know there was one before that, the Landlord's game? And I looked it up and there actually is. So he took the original, that was the original, the Landlord's game. And then that was taken. And then they made the Monopoly game. And then that was taken and they made a newer version, and then that was taken and they made the Bob Ross version. So then he likened that to the original religion, he says, was the Jewish religion, and then came Christianity, and then came Islam, and then came the Church of the Latter-day Saints. So I thought that was pretty good comparisons to how religions have taken from one and changed them to what the need is. No, what say you, Auntie? I want to hear what you thought about the movie.
Yeah, I did like that part specifically because it just reaffirms my stance on religion. I thought it was going to be a little bit more gory than it was. I thought it was going to be even more sinister than it was. I was actually a little disappointed with the outcome of the movie itself. I was all prepared to, look at my beautiful Hugh Grant in a different light. And I mean, he definitely was creepy and weird. Don't get me wrong. He absolutely was. And he was evil for sure. Anybody I talked to about the movie or whatever is like, oh, you're going to see Hugh Grant in a totally different light. And I was like, meh. I mean, yes, it wasn't his usual back in the day rom-com-y thing. And he was kind of funny evil in The Gentleman and in that character. And I don't know. I wasn't as impressed as I was hoping to be in his portrayal. I mean, he did a fine job. Like I said, everything was fine. There was nothing wrong with this movie, nothing wrong with what my beautiful Hugh Grant had done. But I just had this higher expectation in my head as to where this storyline was going to go and how evil it was going to get. And it was, don't get me wrong, folks, it's creepy. It's pretty creepy. But I thought it was going to be way more than that. So I walked away going, okay.
Okay.
And I was all prepared. Like I had my blanket, like I was going to cover my eyes and, just be all ready for it. And I was fine. I was totally fine throughout the whole thing. I was like, oh, okay.
See, my TV, I don't know if it's my TV or what, but man, it was so dark. I mean, I know.
Well, they were in a basement for a good chunk of it. So that didn't help.
But I think the movie making people, they need to come up with a way so that when they want to portray something dark and sinister like that they make it so we can at least see what's going on.
Yeah, and you've got a pretty crisp TV. When you can't see something like that, that's definitely part of the cinematography that could have been done a little bit differently or better.
Yeah. That's happened in a lot of things, though, that I've seen, on the spooky, creepy side.
Yeah.
And then there was that comment back with Game of Thrones, that big brouhaha over the last episode. People were up in arms because they couldn't see what was going on.
Oh.
Yeah. So you think they would have learned by now. I mean, That's been a while.
Yeah.
That's so frustrating. And I've got my TV turned up, way up. It's not the default factory settings. I've got the brightness turned up and the contrast and all that stuff, the backlighting. And
I've only noticed that your TV is very crisp when I'm there. So and I believe it, that sometimes it happens here too, but I had an older TV. I haven't watched it much that's been dark since this other TV that I'm using, which is not, I don't know, it's a Samsung, but I took it from my parents' house. So, I mean, I don't think it's not top of the line or anything like that or super crisp. It's fine. It does its job. I'm not upset by it, but I can understand because I know with my old TV that used to piss me off. And I'd be like, I can't, I have no idea what's going on right now. It's just dark. So, but your TV, like I said, I notice how crisp it is. So for you to experience that as well in this movie makes it seem to me that it's cinematography that's the issue, not your TV.
Well, I even watched it on my monitor, my computer monitor this afternoon. I needed to watch like the last 12 minutes or so of it because I watched it again to make sure I would remember what I needed to remember for this. And even on my computer monitor, it was still dark.
Yeah, I agree. So cinematographers out there.
Yeah, think about us, people.
That's right. You gotta, and the editors, to be honest with you, because the editors should have caught that when they were reviewing it as part of the editing process and saying, this is too dark. We can't see what's going on.
Maybe it's us. I don't know.
I
Our
don't think
hearing's
so.
gone or our eyes are gone.
Well, there is that.
I will say I was not happy with the ending of Heretic.
Agreed.
Yeah. It just kind of leaves you hanging.
Yes. I mean, it had a little twist, which I thought was good.
Yeah.
It left me wanting more. Let's put it that way. Wanting more, not more from the movie versus more of the movie. You know what I mean?
I liked how they they took the characters of the girls, and the one that was so timid, kind of really stepped up to the situation. And
Yes.
she wasn't just a delicate flower after
Yes.
all. Yeah. She had a good head on her shoulders, too.
She
As
did.
far as,
Figuring him
figuring
out.
things out. Yeah. Yeah. Stuff I couldn't get.
Yeah, no, I could not have guessed what she came up with, which
Yeah.
also leaves it a little. I mean, not that I should be able to guess everything, but it also leaves it a little far fetched that she was able to do that.
Yeah.
But it was good for the story that she could do that, so that was good.
I liked him in that character. I'd like to see that side of him.
I like to see all sides of Hugh Grant.
Front, back.
He was even in the latest. No more Bridget Jones's Diary. No more. Enough. Listen to me. He was in it, not throughout the whole movie, but he was in it, and he still looked good. And he still plays that character very well, even as an old man. Good,
as an old man.
Yeah, because they're all old in it,
Yeah.
They just kind of, and that's the point. Her still. Anyway, I don't want to get into Bridget Jones's Diary. I watched it because I've watched all the other ones, and I just want it to be fucking done. So I watched it, and I said, and now this whole book is closed. No more.
It's over.
It's over. At least I hope so. Unless they're going to be grandparents in the next one.
Oh, that's probably it. The baby will have grown up and is going to get married, and all the stuff, getting the wedding prepared.
Too much. No more. Yeah. So good. Yeah, good pick, Auntie Joan. I really wanted to see that movie. I ended up seeing it for free on the Prime before it actually got to Max, which is now on for free. Just stumbled across it and clicked on it, and it's for some reason Prime was running a special. So I don't remember. It's been a good month or so. Month and a half since I've seen it. I was prepared to pay for it because I really wanted to see it. I wanted to see it in the theater, didn't make it there. And then I was like, all right, well, I'll pay for it on Prime. And then it happened to be free. Now it's on Max for free. So always good to see the Hugh Grant.
Yeah. Now, you said we have commercials too?
Yeah, just this one commercial that I was watching the streaming service, one of them, I don't know, and it came on and I said, OMG. We've got to talk about this because it features one of my many men, Jason Bateman.
You have an awful lot of men.
I do, but that's all right. And it is for State Farm, and it is called Batman versus Bateman. And it is quintessential Jason Bateman.
It is.
It just is. It's perfect. The usual craziness is going on in the metropolis in Gotham. And they're like, turn around and like, are you Batman? And he takes off his mask like, nah, Bateman. Close enough. And he rides a scooter. He doesn't have a Batmobile. He has a scooter. What did he call it? The Bateman bike? Or I don't even remember. Come on, Bateman bike. You can do it. I don't know. And they showed different scenes of him at the Joker and Poison Ivy and Catwoman. And it's just ridiculous and awesome. And he is just his typical silly self. And then there is Will Arnett is in it as well. And he actually plays Batman. And if you guys don't know, Will Arnett was the voice for Batman in the Lego Batman movie. But he's never been Batman. He chimes in at one point and tells Bateman to go home. He's like, go home, Bateman, and do a podcast or something, because they have their podcast together. So it's very, very silly. And Will only has a couple of lines in it. Mostly it's about Jason Bateman, or Bateman instead of Batman. But it's silly fun. And honestly, I don't know what State Farm is trying to portray in that. I could give two shits, because as far as I'm concerned, it's Jason Bateman commercial that I wanted to see. But it is for State Farm. I'm sure it's something about life insurance somehow, some way. But I didn't pay attention to that message because I was more into the fact that it was Jason Bateman. And then I was trying to figure out, and for sure know it was Will Arnett. And then when I heard him say the longer line, I was like, that's absolutely Will.
Yeah, there's two versions. There's the 30-second one and then the one that's almost 2 minutes. And I mean, if you go to YouTube and watch the extended version, because it's really worth it.
Yep, it's so good. It's very creative, like like we said, very quintessential Jason Bateman, just with his little quips. Poison Ivy says something, touches his lips, and he's like, "Well, aren't you a flirt?" And Catwoman says, "Nice." He's wearing a fanny pack in it, by the way. People,
Oh, I didn't
Jason
notice
Bateman's
that.
wearing a fanny pack, and Catwoman says, "Nice fanny pack." He's like, "Well, thank you."
I try to think of the word for how he says these things.
He's dry
It's
sarcastic.
very ironic or
Yes.
it's very
Yes.
yeah.
He just, I just love that man so much.
That's a very good commercial.
It's a
I
great
have to say.
commercial. And if you guys, again, I know I plug them a lot, but if you haven't listened to Smartless, you are missing out.
Do you know how they hooked up, how they got together, the three of them?
They've been friends for a very long time.
And the third one is
Sean Hayes.
Sean Hayes.
Yes. The three of them have been friends for a very, very long time. They decided to start the podcast during COVID because they wanted to see each other. And so they did over Zoom. But only they see each other. They have no video whatsoever, folks. They are not
Like
on
us.
YouTube. Just like us, exactly. They're not on YouTube, nothing like that. They don't want to because they don't want to have to do their hair. And
Like us.
Yeah, exactly. They prefer. They've done little documentary series based on their podcast a couple years ago, 3 years ago now, a couple of years ago maybe. So they went to different locations and actually did their podcast live in front of an audience and all that. But the weekly podcast is strictly audio, and so they see each other and the guest. They see the guest, but we only hear the audio of everybody. So yeah, that's why they wanted to do it. They wanted to spend time with each other over Zoom. And then they said, maybe we should record this. And it took off. I think they've been the #1 podcast for a while.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if they still are in 2025, but throughout all of 2024, for sure, they were the #1 podcast.
Huh.
Yeah. I didn't know they did this. So I don't think I first listened to it until we started talking about doing the podcast. And then I don't know what I looked up and they popped up and I'm like, what's this? And they'd already had 2 years in because they really started in 2020.
Gosh. Wow.
2020. Oh, and we started in 2024, but we started talking about it at the end of 2023. So I had missed 3 years or 2.5 years of their podcast and caught up. Because now what I liked about it was I could go to, because they have a guest on every week and different celebrities. And sometimes they have people outside of the biz that are well known in what they do, but that's few and far between. It's mostly celebrities. And I got to pick and choose who I wanted to listen to. I didn't have to sit through just because it was on. So that was nice catching up. And it was nice because I could listen to them back to back and really catch up, which was kind of cool. Now I'm caught up. So now I have to wait every week. Like everyone else.
We ought to look into getting some celebrities to appear. Yeah.
Sure.
With our connections.
Yeah, all of our connections. Well, we'll definitely make that happen.
Yeah. Well, what can I say?
So we'll have that link out there for you all to see. If you haven't already seen it, it's so silly and fun. I just love it. And State Farm's just kind of there. The dude from State Farm is there, whatever his name is, I forget.
Is that Jake still?
Oh, is it Jake?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's Jake.
I don't know if it is either. I mean, the first guy that they used to have was Jake from State Farm.
Right.
But I don't know if
they say this dude's name. He's been in a lot of their commercials.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he's technically Jake. Maybe he is Jake. I don't know. Couldn't say. I was focused on Jason Bateman.
Oh, not the other Jason Momoa, huh?
No, Jason Bateman.
Yeah, Bateman. Yeah.
My Bateman baby. And I just love how he is they just make so much fun of him on the podcast. And he's got so many things to make fun of. He has to wear slippers in a hotel because he thinks it's really gross to walk on a hotel floor.
Wow, he's got a point
He's got so many issues. And he's so good-natured about it. He's totally fine making fun of himself. And the boys just rip him to shreds. Mostly Will.
Doesn't he have a routine where he takes his morning dump at a certain time every day?
It's not quite as bad dad is Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory, who is on a bathroom schedule, but he is very regulated. Yes. Regimented with his, yes. Like yes, because he poops in the morning and then he takes a shower and he's good for the day kind of thing. Like he doesn't poop the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And he doesn't understand how people don't do that. So, and he eats like a bird.
That's right.
And he's ridiculous. But then sometimes he'll just pig out. And so they give him such shit. It's so awesome. I just love it. I just love how much they beat up on him. And Sean too. They pick on Sean a lot too, because Sean he just eats everything.
Oh, does he?
And in quantity. He eats, oh God, chocolate milk and cereal, and he eats ice cream every day, I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly. Like he's just open mouth, insert garbage, and he's all in. Like he just loves it. And he's not shy about it. He doesn't give two shits. And then Will is more the workout guy, but he eats like shit too. So Jason makes fun of them because those two eat like shit, and makes fun of Will because sometimes we can't see it, but he'll show up to the podcast in like his workout shit or whatever. And they talk about golf because Will and Jason both golf, and Jason's, very hard on himself from a golfing perspective. He's supposedly better now that he's gotten better at golf. But before he got better at golf, he was very hard, like throwing clubs. Like he's just like, pissed.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Pissed when he doesn't do well and all that. Just very hard on himself. So, and then Sean is so into Star Wars. Oh my God. That's a lot of fodder there. And they had on not that long ago, Mark Hamill.
Oh.
And Sean was beside himself.
Yeah.
Just asking a shit ton. And apparently Sean's partner, Scotty, is even more of a Star Wars fan. So he even had Scotty come on so he could ask Mark Hamill a question.
Oh my goodness.
It was very sweet and funny. And Mark Hamill's such a good egg. He just answers anything you got and has lots of stories about back then and how he had no idea what Star Wars was going to be about when he read the script. He really didn't get what was going on around. He learned a lot from because Harrison Ford's always been Mr. Cool Harrison Ford. He was always just like, you just go with it, kid. It's just funny.
But Harrison Ford wasn't a big actor back then when they first did that movie. Yeah.
But he's just always just been cool Harrison Ford. Yeah. That's just his demeanor.
Yeah.
That's just him.
Cool.
Cool. So anyway, yes, we'll get that posted out there, but it's a good fun watch, kids.
Definitely worth a watch.
All right, Auntie Joan, anything else for our listener today?
No, I don't think so.
All good?
I think I'm done. Yep.
Okie dokie. Well, that wraps it for yet another wonderful Pickled Watermelon Rinds episode. This is Auntie signing off.
And Auntie Joan saying bye-bye now.
We thank you for listening. And remember, when life eats away at your core, make pickled watermelon rinds.